it's about the fintech and bank relationship. The sponsor bank arrangement that happens between the banks and fintech. The tech-based products is offered by the fintech, and these tech companies are making promo offers to the customers. They are acquiring customers. But when it comes to customer service, these fintech companies are not offering the customer service. Whereas if you see the banks are required to have, they have a banking ombudsman. There is a, if suppose they don't respond, immediately the regulator comes into action. And especially I'm not talking about fintechs like the Uber. I'm talking about fintechs which are into payments, which is dealing with the bank's money, the customer money. Let's take an example of, say, Google Pay. If you have to locate a customer service in the Google Pay, it's very difficult to find out where exactly is that service and whether you can get a prompt action from them. Now, don't you think this kind of arrangement where service is being put onto the bank makes banks at a disadvantaged position compared to the fintechs, because they are doing heavy lifting here?
Yes, they are doing heavy lifting, but possibly the regulatory dilemma is, if the banks, after all, they are the customers of the bank. The customers to start with, they are customers of the bank to start with, and different kind of payment players who have come in as intermediaries. They might be doing front-ending the customer for a specific service. But for that specific payment service, maybe remittance service or balance inquiry service, or maybe a couple of other payment-related service, bill payment services, they are acting on behalf of the bank. So the banks and the technology company must work out an arrangement as to who do that. Regulators have control over the banks. If they start controlling over these intermediaries over there, may have to really if the regulators start regulating the intermediaries for these activities, the banks becomes totally unhooked, and they will not take any responsibility for that. And over a period of time, these very intermediaries may assume the role of the banks, and it would be a conflicting situation. Would you like that conflict to come at a later date? So best is that it is managed through the bank, if you would like the banks to also grow. So it is in their banks, in the interest of the banks, that they should really do this thing, and they should not permit. They would howl off Google Pay if Google Pay cannot really do that service. But as I understand, all these intermediaries, they say that we have such a smooth pipe, they can really file the complaint, and at the back end we pipe the complaint to the bank to resolve it. But the communication to the customer is that the customer does not know about it. Customer knows Google Pay, and he would like to really, can I get the service from the Google Pay? It is an ideal service. But possibly there is some sort of a regulatory dilemma as to how it can be done. Maybe I would now that really regulator has already come up with the bill payment aggregator, payment gateway regulations. The regulations are gradually getting tighter and tighter. Maybe this is just a process. Over a period of time, this issue would also get addressed. But without handling the grievance, the customer cannot get the transactions. As I said, the operational excellence is the key. That is 50% of the market. If you're operationally, you are not excellent, there are problems, you will not get the transactions. People will just walk away from the banks. They do realize, and they will come to senses at some point of time.
Very well said.
I will say it is an evolutionary process. Not that RBI is silent on that. Obviously, RBI has created their own institutional infrastructure for customer service. A department has been created, strongly interacting. You know, payment system department is itself is following up with the banks on grievance redressal mechanism. They would like the institutions to go for publicize the how the grievance are going to be handled. They had gone for the digital uh, payment ombudsman also. They have been publishing that bulk of the grievances relate to uh, account being debited and cash not dispensed from the ATMs, or relating to my account being debited, but actually the beneficiary has not got the money. The data is getting published. RBI is also really publishing uh, so many things. Maybe the banks would have to come together and do this thing. If they do not do, uh, possibly some other people will do it. NPCI is also gradually realizing that, and I suppose now the bulk of the advertisement or anything is how to really customer grievances have to be handled in for UPI also, and they have been publishing the way how it can be done.
So very well said, sir. In fact, in FIAX, we are doing the regulatory curation for the not only just India. We are doing it for GCC countries. We are doing it for the APAC region and the Africa region. And I see that Indian regulators are really, really very active. We see maximum number of circulars on a daily basis coming from the Indian regulators, and each of the circulars have a lot of insights into it. And I agree with your view that eventually the regulations will evolve and such kind of issues will get addressed by the regulator.